Good evening. Thank you for joining me on my last live before Christmas. I will be here for 3 days of Deb next week, leading up to and over the New Year holiday. So I look forward to spending some time with you 3 nights in a row if you can stand me. I'm just going to make sure I'm coming through on this end. Looks like I am. If you're joining me this evening, please let me know where you're joining me from. Many of you I know over the course of the last month and a half have gotten vibration plates or maybe gotten back into the habit of using your vibration plate. And I know some of you are still shopping, looking around, what's the best for me and my situation. So I encourage you, I've posted a couple of comments here that I hope have gone through. No, they're there. If you are looking for plates and you're in the USA, there are still opportunities to save. If you are new, you're getting started, you're dealing with some issues, maybe you're just a little bit fearful, you're recovering from something, I've posted a crash course to getting started if you're in a bit of a hurry. I know many of you have festivities starting early. You got shopping and running around to do. I have posted a very brief 6-minute how to use a vibration plate video as well for those of you that are short on time. I see that I am here. I'm going to share this to a group. Give me just 2 seconds. Okay. Perfect. All right. Well, for those of you who are joining me, hi, Linda. Thank you for joining me. If you could let me know if you can see and hear me okay on your end, I will get rambling here shortly. I'm not going to bore you with a whole lot of explanation this evening. I want to keep it very brief. I want you to start using your plate if you haven't gotten into the habit or it's still sitting in the box. Really, my goal tonight is to help get you motivated, get it out of the box, and the sooner you start playing with it, the sooner you're going to realize, you know what, this feels pretty good. And throughout the holidays, for my regular users, you know what, you're running around, you got extra stress and things on the brain. Don't beat yourself up if you're kind of falling off the rails and not doing your traditional workout. Remember, and for those of you that are not aware, a vibration plate is just as much an effective wellness, recovery, self-care tool as it is an exercise. And I know many of you are looking for the set it to get it, forget it approach. But a vibration plate is a tool that accelerates whatever it is that you do on it. And what I want to talk about very briefly getting started today is what you are able to do. Nancy says she can hear and see me just fine. Thank you. If you're going to stick around for a little while, I will be doing a very brief demo, starting seated. So for those of you that are joining me, I'm in my trusty dusty bar stool, and I will progress to just a couple of brief standing exercises to give you guys some feel good, fast stuff that you can use throughout the holidays, especially my regular users. If you are recovering from something, you deal with chronic issues, it's about keeping that energy up, that mental mood up, and lightening your step, if you will. So if you are out and about and doing more than you would traditionally for your activities this time of year, just use the plate to support that, to give you the boost, the warm up, the recovery, to perhaps complement and use it more in that spot treatment approach that I've talked about in the past in many, many sessions. So I have dropped a 6-minute short crash course to using a vibration plate. A little bit more detail we're going to get into. Today I'm working on the new Vibro Nano. I'm pretty sure this thing went out of stock on Lifepro's main site last week. There may be stock available on Amazon, but the reason I wanted to use this plate today is I know many of you have purchased it over the sales season, and I wanted to kind of demonstrate. I tend to get stuck in my own mode of my Rumble X Plus or my Mini. And how you use a vibration plate is kind of a universal thing. It's not one model benefit over another. It's a matter of how you're using the plate and where. Very often with a vibration plate, you may want to move it around. Maybe you're, in a period in time where you can't stand for long periods, or you're not to be bearing weight. So how you use a vibration plate and how it fits into your lifestyle are sometimes things that put a wrench in the decision of which one should I use. Good evening, Elaine. I need a coffee slurp there. Okay, so the Vibro Nano, there's a couple of things I love about this plate, and there's a couple of things I would consider. And it's not this model in particular, but it's the size of this model. So the Nano is, if I'm standing on it with my feet hip width apart, I've got a little bit of distance. One of the big things on an oscillating vibration plate, which we're going to talk about today, oscillating is a movement type. There are other movement types, but oscillating is the founding. It's the one that started it all. It's the most preferred. It is preferred because it more mimics that natural movement of walking. So if you're joining me for this little walkthrough today, I am starting seated. I want you to position your feet about hip width apart. I'm sitting on an adjustable swivel stool. Long-term use, if this is the way you plan on using the plate because you want to or need to, you want to get yourself something that situates you at about a good 90-degree angle. You don't want those hips much lower going downhill than the knees because it's going to be harder to get up out of just like sitting in a lumpy old couch that doesn't offer support. So on the Nano, for those of you that have purchased it, it's got some good bite. What I mean by bite, everybody describes a vibration plate and how it feels differently because it's a different experience to everyone and how it feels. This one here has a variety of speeds. I'm not going to talk any one specific number tonight because they're not the same with every plate. The basic movement of oscillating takes a little bit more understanding as to how you use this tool. And one of the big bonuses, or one of the pros that oscillating movement brings to the equation, is the two factors are controllable by you. Before we even talk speed, frequency, program, benefits, any of it, the biggest lesson I want to leave you with today is you are always in control over the intensity or how strong this plate feels. And that's simply controlled by, for those of you that have heard me before, I know I'm a broken record, but wider with your foot placement, you can even hear my foot jumping, is more movement. Closer reduces movement. Think back to your playground days. If you're in a really big teeter-totter versus a little tiny one, the amount of swing, the amount of movement varies. So regardless of what speed, program, level, if you have oscillating movement as one of the underlying movements, you are in control over how strong the motion feels. And for most of you dealing with, just getting started, maybe you're not in the best of shape. Oh no. You guys, we lost power. I need someone to flip that breaker. Can someone go flip the breaker for me, please? Seriously? Did you lose internet? I just blew power. Blew power? Yes. I don't know if I'm stop. Holy moly. My family saved me. Well, I had a power outage there. Sorry, I don't know if that disrupted my stream or not. Hello, Robin. Hello, Linda. Hello, Elaine. Hello, Nancy. I'll just say hello to everyone while you're here. Sorry. No, we've got a million moving parts in the house, dogs and dinner and kids. So, no, I think I flipped a breaker with my little portable heater. So, that's okay. I can restart my machine. So I was covering amplitude, and the intensity is controlled by your foot position. And this is not a set number. Amplitude is very much, oh, sorry, I was out of my runtime. Amplitude is a personal thing. It's how it feels to you at the time, depending on what you might be doing as an exercise, your personal sensitivity, your tolerance. It really depends on you and how you're feeling at the time in the position you're doing. Amplitude is one way that you can change your experience. So when we're first starting out for today, what I usually recommend, and there's not any one way to use a vibration plate, but with oscillating, as I said, there's two things that you can do to change or manipulate how it feels. And once you kind of understand that, any of the other movements that you may want to consider combine, for those of you that have got multi-moving machines, they're more of an added feature. The main movement that I want you to get the most understanding from, because the most functional benefits are gained from, is oscillating. And one of the things, besides the fact that you can control the intensity, is you can use the intensity to keep things moving so the body doesn't become stagnant. While we're sitting here, before I get into too many more technical terms, I want to introduce a little bit of upper body. So for those of you that are going to be able to join me when we get to the standing, I'll get into the speeds here a little bit next and how long. But you can take your arms, lock those elbows, and you're just leaning forward a little bit. Make sure the posture is there while you're seated, guys. Get yourself a bit grounded by pulling that tailbone back, making sure that we're, not slouching, we're breathing. Then we lean forward at the hips, lock those arms, and you'll feel a little bit of movement. Again, if you find it's too strong, maybe you've got sensitivities, fear, you're always in control. Bring those feet a little closer. The resonance of the vibration, the movement, is now, as soon as you put that hand on the knee, is connected. For those of you that like how it feels and you want a little bit more intensity, two adjustments that you can make. When you're using a vibration plate, it's never a matter of, can I use it, yes or no, for this. A lot of times it's having the experience and the understanding of how to modify what you're doing on it. Whether it's a hip replacement or you've just had open heart surgery, there's usually, most doctors or therapists out there want you active in some way. It's to what degree that you should be active and how much you can tolerate. A vibration plate seated, it can be just a very effective way to get some circulation going. It doesn't have to be a big 10-minute workout. So a little bit more intensity for the upper body, because it's different than what the legs may be able to handle. Is first adjustment, try coming just a little bit wider. See how that feels. Next would be a little bit more direct contact. If flexibility, range of motion allows, go from the hands to the elbows. So we're going to lean forward. Still want a nice straight spine. This is going to be a little more intense on the neck, the shoulders. If you get into this position and it's a little too much, try adjusting with the feet first. You may find, because you're a little bit more closer to the movement, it's a little bit stronger. But you can feel this right between the shoulder blades, the back of that bra strap, ladies. And from here, what would you do sitting at your desk if you had shoulder and neck issues? Maybe some rolling shoulders, neck, some side twists, Maybe you're reaching a little bit from side to side. Do whatever you would normally do sitting at a desk. It's just getting some additional movement in a very passive way. It's boosting lymph. If you are dealing with lymphatic issues, you've got known blockages, compromised in any way, I do recommend some prep work. Prep work, for those of you that know the lymphatic prep, the pathways to be prepped, there's lots of people out there doing a little thing. But you could do your prep work, your dry brushing, whatever feels comfortable. You could do that in a seated fashion. All that the plate is doing, as I said, it's adding a little boosted circulation and lymphatic movement. I have done many videos on this channel. There's a couple short ones done by Jen Stewart, a certified lymphatic therapist in the US. And she talks about the 6 pathways. There's other docs out there that have their own videos. But if you do have compromised lymphatics, a vibration plate, if it is awesome at anything, is turbo boosting that circulation and lymph. And you want to make sure, it's great to get lots moving, but we don't always think until after the fact, is our body in a position to handle all the new action? So if you're compromised in your lymphatics, you're supposed to reduce circulation to a degree. You may want to ensure that not only are you reducing intensity, just give yourself a bit of chance to get used to it, but make sure that you've done some prep work to make sure it's dissipated properly. It just helps your body get used to the increase in flow. The last point on that, whether it's lymphatics, whether you're deconditioned, whether you're a conditioned athlete or not, many people, 99.999% of people overdo it on time when they start out. So this machine I've got set at 10 minutes. It's a default start time. This one, what I do love about this is you can adjust the time, because that's what everybody's biggest question is. But why do you want to? If when I see somebody that's had a machine a day or two and they already want to know how they can go 15 minutes and can they go 10 times, going longer and longer in passive use, whether that's seated or standing, which we're going to go to now. Standing, we want those knees a little bit bent. You want to make sure the posture's there, that tailbone's back. If we're standing too tall, you're going to hear it in the head and the voice. Bring those feet a little bit closer, bend the knees a little bit. You can even hear the difference in my voice. So just like when you're standing, you're always in control of the intensity. The difference between seated and standing is more weight bearing. Those of you conscious about the bone density, the strength, the toning, standing is great, but standing at max speed, locking your legs and thinking the machine's going to shake it all off is just going to put you in a situation where you're overdoing it, over exercising, and all the effects that come with that. So if you've ever overdone it at the gym or even on a walk, you know what muscle soreness feels like. But if it's your knee or your hip or your shoulder, you don't always associate it with over exercise. So be mindful, use it for less time more often, especially if you're dealing with chronic issues. So use it 5, 10, 15 times a day. But maybe it's a minute or two let's talk to some of these perpetual benefits. So just by using it seated, standing, I don't care where you start, just get started. You're increasing blood flow. You're increasing circulation. Your body is ever having to stabilize itself upon this moving platform, even seated. You're going to boost balance. It happens every single time you use the plate. Your body awareness becomes more effective. And a vibration plate, better than anything else, it primes or it preps your central nervous system for whatever you're going to do to it next. Whether it's more of this, whether it's therapy, whether it's going to the gym, it just makes your body prepared to receive the good stuff, the good vibes that you're giving to it. So standing, now that we're standing, I've been standing longer than you should if you're just looking for some energy. But a minute or two, whether you're seated, doing some of this stuff, maybe you're standing. I know many of you are hauling big roasters of food and gifts around. I know I took a little tumble this week and I'm feeling my low back pretty awesome right now. My favorite one when I'm standing that just hits me everywhere I need to is I go from just standing slightly into what I call a standing low back position. So this is one of those times where I want you to break the rules and lock your legs, but at the same time, you're going to hinge forward at the hips at about a 30 to 45 degree angle. So watch me in the mirror. We're going to lock those legs and we're going to lean forward just slightly. Let you can feel a little bit in the ears, but don't fight it. It's not harmful. It just takes some getting used to. If you're larger than me, you might feel girls shaking. Not really a problem for me. Now from here, some of you that are my yogis or my Pilates girls, or you do cat-cow type stuff, this is a great one where you can tuck that pelvis in, arch up a little bit. Knees are just undone. Or it's the other way. My back's a little tender. I can feel that. This, maybe you're wanting to get a little strength and a little life into the legs. Maybe you got some restless leg going on. Maybe you're feeling guilty because you haven't been getting your workout done. Squat a little bit. Hold. You don't have to move up and down, especially if you got inflammation, chronic issues. You want to keep it going over the holidays. Keep it short and sweet. So if you're going to spend a minute or two, 5, 10 times a day, squat a little bit. Breathe. 2, 3. You should feel the burn. Feel the burn. Stand up. Take a little recovery. 1, 2, 3. I like doing this in the morning. Gets my little old lady metabolism boosted for the day. My knees that normally sound like popcorn or Cracker Jacks boxes improve. Whatever you need to fix. 1, 2, 3 minutes throughout the course of the day. if you are looking for fitness and the goals over the holidays are to keep going, but you ain't got time to go to the gym and do your usual thing, you know, effort goes a long way. So depending on your range of motion, the stool here, if you are working, you know, get into the habit before the new year. The stool here is a great tool if you're starting to squat, you know, you are dealing with chronic issues and maybe you've pushed yourself a little further. It's kind of a safety thing. You can just sit down on the stool. If you're working on mobility, the balance has to be there for this one. Maybe put a chair in front of you or something for fingertips. But I love doing the sit to stand. All my PTs and docs know this one well. We slowly go from seated to standing. It's a very functional. How many times a day do you get up out of that chair and sit back down? Functional fitness. You don't need to be a gym guru or an exercise guru. What do you do all day that gives you grief? Is it getting up out of the car? You know, I like doing a little spin on that. Stand up, step down, step back, step up. Play with what feels comfortable. Don't take on more than you're ready for. Use it often to boost you over the holidays, to recover from the shopping, the running around. Other movement types, vertical and lateral, if you've got a rumblex or the 4D, different movement types are different motors, different components. So when you're looking at the compact, the smaller plates, if you're in shopping mode, at the bare minimum, I recommend having an oscillating moving plate. As I said, there's a little bit more understanding, but long term, there's many more things that you as the user can adapt to keep the challenge going. The frequencies, the speeds, most machines have different ranges of speeds or preset programs. Just like going to the gym, there's no perfect weight to lift for biceps or quads. Everybody's going to be a little bit different. The slow end on oscillating, the lower speeds are a little bit more about destabilization, balance. They tend to be a little bit uncomfortable if you are a new user. But we have this mentality to start slow. I don't want you to start slow. I want you to start conservative. And that's getting the speed going up a little bit and bringing the feet closer to the center. It's all about that amplitude. Wide is more movement, more impact. That's more intense. So start kind of naturally hip width apart. If at any speed, and I want you to experiment because it is very much how it feels. And what feels good in one exercise, maybe, completely different feeling in a different exercise. So experiment also if you're doing exercise positions, getting down on the ground, doing push-ups. A vibration plate is simply an environment that accelerates the benefits of those floor-based exercises, seated chair exercises, whatever exercise positions. It reduces impact and the amount of time you have to spend exercising. A vibration plate, without getting too superficial, too scientific, superficially increases your exposure to gravity. And through that process, all the health benefits known to be associated with gravity, our blood systems, our cardiovascular relies on gravity. And in this way, it elicits a higher muscle fiber response. So if you took your muscle and sliced it widthways, you'd see all these little thousands of muscle fibers. And on the ground, we're recruiting a certain amount of them. But on a vibration plate, how we get these extra benefits in less time is more fibers activated, those fast twitch, those reactive muscles. As I said, it better prepares the central nervous system. So if you are looking for fitness results, the better your personal technique, your breathing, your effort on the plate, think of this as like the super duper HIIT machine. It's high intensity interval training. I like doing sets, reps, 2, 3, 4 solid exercises that I'm pushing to fatigue within that 1, maybe 2 minute mark if I'm working on some endurance and some stamina training for something. But you literally can have yourself killed and done in 5 minutes if you're applying yourself. So it really depends on your technique, the breathing, and just focusing and making sure you're hitting that finish line. If you're not fatiguing within the minute, 2 minute mark, Maybe it's more a matter of, adding some mass, adding some slow dynamic motion. A lot of people think you got to move fast and jump all over these things. Companies that market those lack education, quite frankly, and it's not great for your equipment. If you want more cardio, doing some step ups, some dynamic movement, putting these into a circuit with other equipment that you might be using. Maybe you go for a jog, use this as the warm up and the recovery. But if you do push yourself on this plate, even with static, very slow dynamic movements, it's going to do a better job at the muscle activation. It's going to reduce that impact on the joints even further. But I bet you you'll be huffing and puffing too. Just try it and trust me. So now I'm going to come to the camera because I want to hear the questions now. I'm sure we're going to have a few. And I need a slurp of my beverage. So, just a reminder for those of you using this for, feel good over the holidays, to manage those symptoms. And I don't want anybody surviving. I want you thriving. Whether you are celebrating or not, it's a time of year where we're going through physical, emotional stuff. And a vibration plate can be a really quick, super effective tool to put a little bit more fuel into your tank and, help you sleep and just move better if those are things that you struggle with this time of year. So let's get into the questions. If you've watched any of my sessions, you're probably all experts now anyways. Let's see where we're starting here. So if you do have questions and you're joining me from one of the many groups that I shared this in this evening, if you would like to ask me a question, please make sure that you are watching me through the main Lifepro Facebook page, not the VIP group, not any of my private groups that I've shared with. The comments on my end of this stream will only come through the main Lifepro page. So I encourage you to hop over there now while I get to this first question from Linda. Linda has a Rublex Plus, which I have right there. I haven't gotten into it like I want to yet. I need to use it for bone density. I know it needs to be 30 to 40. What program and setting? Linda, out of respect, I'd ask that you watch what I offered today. Bone density, anyone that is stating this 30 to 40 hertz, and I'll be honest, because it's been a long week, it's marketing, and it's from a company that sells one type of machine. Vertical plates have a higher frequency range, and they do have a couple of studies. But there's studies at all different types of frequency ranges. The common thread isn't the frequency range, which varies with movement type. Oscillating plates have lower frequencies. Low frequency, in a lot of ways, has more advantages than vertical, the faster frequencies in how the muscles respond. But on oscillating, the amount of movement, so each time the plate is moving you that frequency, how far is it moving? How much are those muscles contracting? And that's the wider or closer foot portion thing I was showing you. Same goes if you're using an upper body position. But weight bearing exercise, pushing those muscles and those bones, doing appropriate weight bearing exercises regularly is how you get strong bones. It's not a setting. And I wish I could offer you a set it and forget it approach. Whether you've been offered that information from another manufacturer, Lifepro itself, a lot of this information is coming from the World Wide Web. And some of the summaries out there, if you don't actually understand the science behind vibration plates, there's a lot of marketing that goes into them, unfortunately. And the 30 to 40 hertz absolutely is a valid study. But unfortunately, with vertical plates, even though the frequency is there, the amount of movement, the amplitude is minuscule, like millimeters or less. So they have a different feeling. They tend to be louder. You're going to have to spend a lot more money in a linear or vertical plate. The machines from those studies, they don't really exist anymore. I can speak very confidently because this is what I started in 20 years ago, was vertical German medical grade plates. And what I have learned over time as a trainer with the opportunities I've been blessed with in my experience, oscillating by far not only offers the same range of benefits, but again, as I said when I started out tonight, it is by far more tolerated, and it's because it feels more natural. So in the long run with bone density, the big thing, everybody thinks bone density, but that's a real long-term down the road benefit, depending on where you're at. If you're dealing with a severe diagnosis, the mobility, fall prevention, what oscillating does much better than vertical technology is that balance, that stability piece is an immediate thing, even within 10, 15 seconds of using this thing, even seated. So when people come to me as a trainer and they want to work on bone density, absolutely there's a goal in achieving that, and we sometimes have varying opinions of how to get to the finish line. But short term, the focus absolutely is getting you stable, getting you strong, which is more of a short to mid-term benefit. And the bone density, really the easy way to accomplish bone density. And honest story, this is speaking particularly to Linda. I have a lot of chronic users, and many of them are just using to manage pain and increase energy, lymphatic movement being a key thing. I deal with a lot of lymphedema, lipedema. And, many people, even though we're all thinking about the bone density and we know it's important, usually it's our immediate crisis that we're dealing with that we tend to hone in on. And so many of them are using it regularly for lymphatic movement. I learned years ago, just through that 2 to 3 minutes, 4 or 5 times a day to manage symptoms, these bone density, these strength, the toning, many of the other results that we as women want. But it's not like you necessarily need to do different things. The real key with bone density long term, of course, giving your body, the nutrition and the rest and those things it needs to put that work into play on the recovery side. But consistent, regular use is really the key long term with bone density. And if there's certain areas that are, you want to target more specifically, the neck and the spine, there's the certain areas of the body, there are ways, the hips, to just do appropriate exercises that get the vibration more in those areas. But it's the key is using it consistently and regularly for all of the benefits. What setting, the 30 to 40 hertz, which I would say is very general. The downside of vertical plates also is they have very limited settings. So they're usually 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. And they're not everybody's cup of tea. There's a little bit more head vibe, which isn't harmful, but they really do long-term lack the amount of amplitude to have an adequate stretch, pull on that bone. If you're pushing the bones and stressing them out, as I call it, if you just go through the bare minimum and the movements, your body's going to build, to suit what you're demanding of it. If you push yourself, if you put a little bit more, effort into the equation, a little more mass into the moves, the bones and the muscles have to respond by becoming stronger to suit the task. So do the bare minimum, you're going to get the bare minimum return. I wish I could say it's a setting. It's not. And those settings are, sometimes, if you're in a hospital bed and lacking movement, there certainly is research that way. But I hope most of you joining me today, have the ability to at least, sit getting started or stand or do a combination. Even if you are digressed in your health, Linda, maybe stability and standing isn't an option right now. You certainly can get started seated and progress towards other things. Stability is the big thing short term. I hope that makes sense. Robin says, hi all. Hi, thank you for being here. Pamela, nice to see you again. I know I've seen you before. Hello from I'm going to so botch this name, Orcas Island. I would love to get clarification about the programs. I have a torn meniscus and find my plate makes it feel better. I don't need to clarify about the programs. Watch my 6-minute crash course or watch this from the beginning if you're joining me. There is no setting for torn meniscus. There is no setting for bone density or weight loss. Just like the gym or working with a therapist, it's really a personal thing about you and the situation you're dealing with. So with torn meniscus, there's probably some exercises you're supposed to be doing regularly. The thing that sucks about like home exercise is like it's so not motivating to sometimes do the things you have to at home. So if you do have some things you're supposed to be doing, a vibration plate can be a great tool just to get a little bit of that resonance, the vibration into the moves. If the meniscus is torn, have you been told not to walk or move or do anything? You kind of got to listen, not so much, can I use a vibration plate or not? It's, can I be active or not? And to what degree? The plate is just a way to be active, if that makes sense. Now, I have done a couple of sessions. If you go into Lifepro's YouTube channel and search Debbie with a Y, knees, you'll see there was good news for bad knees. I did one. But one of the things I love to use for my bad knee, and I'm going to caution everybody right now, if range of motion isn't there, work on it. it's not the getting down, it's the getting back up that sometimes becomes a challenge. But with my knee, when it's being a brat, okay, not a huge investment. These are swimming pool noodles. Cut one the width of your plate. You'll have a couple of chunks and a little chunk left over. Cut one this way. It depends on how much wedge you want. A pool noodle can act as a roller for pain relief, moving lymph. Maybe you do rolling exercises now. When my knee is giving me grief, and mine gets like kind of stiff and sore, sometimes a little achy. Back in the day, girl, I used to feel that chunk flipping back and forth, and it hurts, but I can't necessarily deal with it right now. I got things to do. So I massage my knee when it's giving me grief. So if this is something you think you could tolerate, I love just massaging the back of my knees, and enough of the movement resonates up through the knee. We're just relaxing. If it's too much action, just like when you're standing, bring the feet a little bit closer to the center to reduce the amount of movement. You can just rest back on your hands. If it's pretty severe and it's hard to get down on the ground, next to the pool noodle, number 2 add-on, this is Lifepro's AeroFlex Step. Okay, it gives you a little bit more surface up off the ground. It's not quite as low to get down, and then you've got more real estate the same height as the machine. You might find this more doable than sitting on the floor, and then you don't really need to hold yourself up as much. You may want to put another piece of roller underneath. You can move forward a little bit, just sort of play with it. Rest the heels on it if you need to take a little bit of the weight out of it. And what I like about this step, you can lean back and you can sort of roll, get different areas of the knee. Maybe you're doing some leg lifts a little bit, stretching those calves. This is a great tool. I don't know. Again, I'm not giving medical advice. I'm just showing examples of things I do. When I get swelling, or it's under that kneecap in the front. So I've been known to just kneel on it. But you'll know in about 3 seconds if this is a good thing. Bring those knees closer. And anytime you're dealing with pain, inflammation, anything chronic, guys, reduce that intensity with the feet and increase speed. Faster speed is going to be more soothing, more relaxing. You'll get more movement in less time. So for those of you that are coming from a chronic place, or the fear is there, 30 seconds to a minute. Boost the energy versus deplete it. Longer and longer doesn't always give the effect that you want, especially when you're first starting out. There's an element of detoxification going on. You ramp it up for 10 minutes, 3 days in a row, and then you break out in a rash and you stop using it altogether just after you start getting things going. So common sense applies. Less is more, but more often, if that makes sense. I'm a little bit fuzzy, but that's okay. Hides a few of my wrinkles. Who else is here? Thank you for that one, Pam. Let me know. I can't really say, yes, it's okay to use a vibration plate with a torn meniscus, because like anything else, it depends on you personally. But if you're an existing user and you've got the experience, you know how to modify and navigate through those changes. It's different than someone new coming to me saying, oh, I bought a vibration plate to work on my torn meniscus. There's all that newbie stuff, the itchiness. There's different things that you go through as a new user. What I will do after I get off the live later this evening, I will post some comments, just some common user questions, vibration plate movement types. I'll drop a few more info things for those of you that may have questions. Linda, you're welcome. Absolutely. And if I sounded like I was coming down on the 30, 40 hertz thing, I hate to say it, but this is the alpha intelligence, whatever. It's pulling out all these old studies that, honest to God, guys, just haven't been relevant in 10 years. There's a couple, if you have a Rumblex or you have the turbo, that pulsation, it's a nice therapeutic massage, but amplitude has been watered down with vertical plates to the point where I wonder if there's even a muscle contraction at all. Once you step on this thing, is it even moving, or are you just feeling the motor buzz? Sure, it feels good, but not everything's easy, guys. If you want to lose 50, 60 pounds, do you honestly think standing on something that barely tickles your feet is going to do all the work? You're going to get some increased circulation and lymph and some short-term gains. But if you want those long-term gains, it's not always a matter of killing yourself and going longer. This should not be something that you have to endure or survive. It should be a pleasant experience. And it's about recognizing the body you're starting with and progressing accordingly. I'd rather you underdo it and whine to me that, I didn't do enough than overdo it and be so sore that you're going to miss your Christmas dinner, especially if you're the one cooking the bird or ham or whatever you may be doing for those of you that are celebrating. Okay. Linda is here from Michigan. That's awesome. I know I invited a few of you from all over the place. So if you are joining me, I see there's a few of you here. Please help me out and get this awareness piece up in Lifepro's feed. Make a comment. You don't have to tell me anything about you, but please do tell me where you're joining me from, how you heard about the live, or even do you have a vibration plate? Have you started using it? Maybe you're making a comment just to be a little bit more accountable until the next session when I nag you about it. So the biggest favor you can do yourself, if you've gotten a machine in the last month or two, whenever your sales shopping journey begun, maybe you've had a plate for a while and it's just collecting some dust in the corner. You know who I'm talking to. Pull it out, make a comment, say, I commit, and get shaken now before all this pressure of the New Year's and the hassle of all of that begins, because I'll be nagging you then too. So get into the habit now. Use it for energy. Use it to just help digest, get circulation going, help you sleep better, restless leg, whatever it may be. Give yourself the gift of moving and feeling better. Use your vibration plates often. 2 to 3 minutes as needed, especially for those of you managing chronic symptoms. If the lymph is backed up, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you're prepping the lymphatic, keeping hydrated. It's a great way to keep things moving when, for those of you that may be doing some, more intensive self-care on a regular basis, sometimes time doesn't allow, for everything you'd like to. So the vibration plate is going to give you those weight-bearing exercise gains, plus turbo boosting that lymph, circulation, energy balance, all of it. Everything you've ever heard about a vibration plate is absolutely true. It's a matter of how you apply the tool. So it's never, with me personally, a matter of no, you can't, or yes, you can. It's a matter of what are we dealing with? What's your personal situation? And then assessing how to best apply the tool. There's always a way that you can benefit from using your plate. Robin says, hi, all. Pamela says, hi. I said, Linda. Emily, I didn't say hello to you. Aloha. It's much earlier for you. Thank you for joining me. I'm under literally 1.5 feet of snow, and it's way, way sub below zero here. It's very cold. I wish I was on the beach with you. Aloha. Pauline, what is the difference between the plates? The ones behind me, there are a few differences. What I will do, Pauline, is I've got a video that in the event I posted selecting the right vibration plate. Sometimes it's a matter of you want something portable, or you want something simplistic in operation. Maybe you want a workout machine and you've got a dedicated space. So sometimes the size, the budget, those type of things. But at the bare minimum, for the most benefits long-term, you want oscillating movement. Oscillating moves like a teeter-totter. And I will make a point. Many of you this week have messaged me saying, well, it doesn't say, what is it? Oscillating is clearly defined on all of Lifepro's plates, with the exception of the voice models, which are kind of like an electric rebounder more than really a vibration plate. They're kind of fun, but I wouldn't hold them into the same discussion. Oscillating is the pioneer. It is the foundation. It's going to give you better short-term gains, but more functional long-term benefits. And all of Lifepro plates are oscillating. Pulsation is a kinder, a therapeutic version of vertical. Great idea as an add-on, a combo model. I like it to mix things up. If you're dealing with a very severe recovery situation, some severe neuropathy, it's a nice little on its own, a little bit milder introduction until you maybe progress to some other things. And then lateral, there's not a lot of scientific studies on that. It's another variation, a feature. A lot of my ladies and gents with head sensitivities There's none really that you feel at all. But for a lot of my seated lymphatic users that are dealing with chronic lymph issues using the machine regularly, it's just another way to get things moving and help with the lymph. So it's a nice to have, not a need to have. If budget, space and all these things are a consideration, a basic oscillating plate. The smaller isn't always better. I will warn those of you, if you go too small, a small plate is a good starting point unless long-term you plan to get into some fitness, more standing. If you're a taller user, a small plate with less mass is going to be a little tippy, little less stable for your use. So you want to make sure whatever it is that you're standing on is going to support the activity. I recommend in Lifepro's lineup the Waiver Mini. Even though they're out of stock right now, it will be coming back. It's one of their top models. They've got them in white on Amazon, but the Mini isn't too light. It's not too heavy that it's not portable. It's basic oscillating movement, simplistic in its operation. If you're not an exercise guru right now, you're not going to turn into one just because you got a vibration plate. Smaller ones are a little better for that, under desk use, by the sofa. You want some portability. Maybe you're putting it in the RV. They become a very good second machine. They're also good if you're in a chronic situation, you're going to be using it seated longer term. I always have hope for everyone. People, I'll never be able to stand. No, let me prove you wrong. Please give me a chance to prove you wrong. Consistency, guys. It's amazing the body's capacity to heal given the right intervention. And this is just the right amount of therapy with the right amount of exercise that I'm 20 years later, I'm walking around without that knee replacement because of them. That's all I can say. Kelly's here from South Carolina. Susan is from Goddard, Texas. Thank you for coming all the way from here. I am just an hour north of Calgary, Alberta, for those of you that aren't aware. I have Elaine. I don't have a plate yet. Looking to purchase one, hoping it will help with my lymphedema. I have a support group that just passed 28,000 members today. I am the admin for Vibration for Fat Disorders, which I will drop a link. Lipedema is very much like anything lymph. You use this thing often, but do your prep, do your other things before you go blast it for a good 10, 15 minutes. If you search Lifepro, lipedema, Debbie, you're going to see tons of past sessions that I've done, Elaine. That's probably a good place to start. And I do have a couple of short prep videos. I will drop all of my videos here at some point, guys. And if you look at any of Lifepro's lives, you'll see that I post some of my more recommended sessions. Susan, Sally from Virginia. I bought the Rumblex 4D, but have not used it yet. So thank you for writing that and committing. I want you to check back in. I did put a short at the beginning of this 6-minute crash course, if you just can't listen to me ramble, that gets into some of the basics I covered. Ideal for anyone watching this that wants to fast track from past some of the Debbie ums and ahs, if you will. I also have Susan here. Hello, everyone. I'm excited to watch these videos. To learn the awesome ways to use it. I joined the Facebook group and an invitation came across. Nice. So I'm assuming you're a new user. Consistency sells. Don't overdo it. Start conservative, short, more frequent sessions versus long, drawn-out durations. Watch the 6-minute one I put in here. It's on Lifepro's channel on YouTube, the link that I shared. Pauline says, thank you. Thank you for being here. Elaine says, thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you for spelling my name with a Y. If you're watching this on a recorded basis or you think of something after the fact because you got better things to do on a Friday night, or is it Friday? What day is it? Oh, what am I saying? It's Monday. I'm way ahead of myself. Never hesitate to tag me at Debbie with a Y. That way I'll get a notification for sure. Sometimes if you get talking amongst yourselves or somebody makes a comment, I don't always get the notification. So make sure you tag me at Debbie with a Y. Again, I'm going to be live next week, 3 days of Debbie, the 30th, 31st, and the 1st. Same times on the 30th and the 1st, and I had to bump the Christmas Eve session a little bit later, but I will be 3 nights in a row, just some simple fun stuff to keep you moving through the holidays. The biggest favor you can do yourself is get started. Get a chair, put your feet on it, get a feel for it seated, watch me ramble, watch the 6-minute video, and I will post my more recommended ones here. You guys have an awesome, awesome Christmas. Merry Christmas. For those that celebrate, for those that are doing other things, or perhaps you're just checking out and doing your own thing. I wish you good health, both physically and mentally over the next week. It's just a busy time of year. You're inundated with all the shopping and the I don't know how many more Christmas carols I can listen to, and I'm a tolerant woman. But thank you for joining me. Be mindful, take care of yourself, and don't work too hard. I look forward to seeing those of you that are able to join me next week. If you're unable to join me next week, but you'd like to watch the recordings, hop into the events on Lifepro's main page, and you'll see those sessions, myself and Amber. And I think, myself, Roseanne, and I think Amber has a couple set up to keep you moving over the holidays. 44% off with Lifepro Direct in the US. Still some inventory, but if it's sitting in the cart, guys, don't wait for long. Things are going out of stock. So if you're getting yourself something for Christmas or someone else, some of you will still have time to get it under the tree. Wrap her up tonight. Check out the deals online with Lifepro USA. And if there's something in particular that you were looking for that you don't see, check out Amazon. Also, some products available with Amazon in Canada, the UK, Germany, more and more as this company grows and grows. For those of you that are waiting for emails back, correspondence as Lifepro grows, they are doing their best to keep up with your questions. But the more you can invest in educating yourself on the how to use piece, the more that folks on the phone and the emails can deal with the orders and getting these things to you. So if you're waiting on a response and it's been more than a few days, please don't hesitate to reach out, join the VIP group, and you can tag me in there if you guys need any help. But there's lots of ways to get support. Reach out and be consistent for those of you that are getting started. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a very merry week, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week for the 3 back-to-back. Get started now before the holidays and the pressure of New Year's comes. Get shaken, guys. Thanks so much.